critters, welcome back to Crafts and Critters with your host Christine. So we are going to be making a Dr. Seuss inspired Cat in the Hat bow. So let me just see all of that. So here's what we're going to need. We're going to need two colors of tulle. I have a blue and a red. We have a red ribbon, and this ribbon is 1.5 inches wide. And it came from Joann's. And then we have a Cat in the Hat ribbon. And this I found at Joann's too. You can find these by Googling online, and there's they come in different colors and stuff like that from different places. I'm also going to be using my little clips, my rotary cutter, tweezers, some thread, and a needle, glue gun, glue sticks, and those are here, lighter, and we're going to need a, this is a 1/2 inch round, and these are 1.5 inch rounds, so you're going to need 2 of these and 1 of these, and then a this is about 1.5 inches long, 3 millimeters wide, and a ponytail holder. So those are all the materials that we're going to be using, and I'm going to keep that one right there for my little inspiration that we got going on. So hold on, I'm adjusting the camera a little bit here. All right, there. Okay, so we're gonna get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is start from the bottom up. So the bottom up is going to be the red ribbon here. So this red ribbon, which is this. So you're going to need to cut a 1/16 inch long ribbon, and rotary cutter, scissors. I do have a pair of scissors on hand too, just in case we need those. And you're going to need to cut 2 of these and make 2 that are going to be identical to this. So I am going to weight my ends to prevent fraying. Alright. And the next thing we're going to do is kind of bring them together in the center, make it like a little square. So we're just making a little square, and then we're going to flatten it down. And we are going to, I'm going to use a clip to just hold this together for a second. And we're going to sew all the way around this, kind of like I did with the second one here. So that's the square, and we're going to sew all the way around. So everybody knows how to sew, so I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to sew this all around, and I'm going to come back and we're going to show you the next step. Okay, we are back, and I have gotten these 2 together. Now I did use a white thread. As you could tell from this bow here, even when you flip it over, you really do not see the fact that I used white thread. But if you want, you can use color coordinating thread. It's not a big deal. So the next thing we want to do is connect these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to start here on this end, and you're just going down the middle now. So a few stitches in and out. So it goes very quickly. Here's that one. And we're going to keep going. We're not going to tie it off. We're just going to follow through onto the next one and make sure that you start your stitching where it's going to line up with the other bow. Next step. Alright, I'm going to go down one more time here. Alright, now the next part is you're going to pull. Pull gently, not trying to break the thread. So I would start here and just kind of pull it along. So I'm holding the thread here and I'm literally like dragging my fingers with the ribbon down the thread. And then we're going to wrap. And make sure you get it where everything's facing up and in the correct position, and then just wrap all of the extra thread here that you have. And I'm kind of doing this snugly. Snuggly's not a word. You want it snug and secure along the thread line. And then we just bring it through right here and tie it off. And I do that a couple of times. So make sure it's not gonna give. Right, and then we're gonna snip that off. And then just check and make sure that you have it how you want it. All right, and that's our bottom layer. So we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna do the next two layers. So the next two layers are tulle layers, one in blue and one in red. So you're going to ready another needle of thread and right. And then we're going to cut our tulle. So, and I'm approximating this. It's going to be about 20 inches long, roughly. Oops. All right. And we're going to do this the same way I've done some of my other previous bows. And we're going to fold it in half. And sorry, I'm just evening up the tulle. All right. As you saw in a previous video, I kind of like to use my clips to hold the material so it stays even while I'm stitching and doesn't move anywhere. And I just spread out a couple of clips here and there to kind of hold that in place. All right, and another thing I like to do is I like to fold it again in half here. And as you can see, kind of see the edges aren't completely even. I like to even that out a little bit. So do that on that side, and you could really see here that it's really bad on this side. So and that's just something I do aesthetically. All right, now again, I'm using white thread. You can color coordinate the thread if you want. You actually, again, you don't see the thread. So I am doing a different technique. We're not just going to go in and out as a stitch line all the way down. We're going to do something a little bit different on this one. So again, I like to catch put my needle through the knot at the end. All right, so what we're doing is we're going to go in, but we're going to twist and round around, kind of like a knitting. So in, so it's kind of just back and forth. Let me see if I can get this a little bit closer. So we're going to go down and around, down and around, down and around. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because it leads a little bit more fluffiness to the tool. And since this is kind of inspired by Dr. Seuss, and you think whimsical, I want everything to be kind of in that sync, that very whimsical feel to it. As you can see, this can you can kind of get into a rhythm, and it can go pretty quickly. All right, and then we're going to just pull it down and get our thread all the way through. And we're going to come to the other side, and we're going to bring it in a little bit, so not in the very edge, but in. And then tighten it. Stitch it through. Right. And there we go. And you're going to make one in blue as well. So we have both our red and our blue and our other ribbon. So we're going to still need some thread. So we're going to do our next layer. And our next layer is the Cat in a Hat ribbon. So you're going to want 4 strips of, or 4 different pieces of Cat in the Hat ribbon. So I'm just going in with the word Cat in the Hat, and I'm clipping it off right here. And you're going to want to do fold here and do a little snip off, so it kind of does your little tail. Now you're going to want 2 tailed at the word the, so like that, and 2 of them tailed at this Dr. Seuss hat. And you'll see why when we go to assemble everything. So what I'm going to do with each of these strips is come through, and we want both sides. Okay, minor interruption. So we have 4 strips, 2 tailed at the, 2 tailed at the hat, and then we're going to need one to cut one more, but we are going to actually cut the hat off. And you're going to want your lighter and our tweezers, because what I want to do is I want to come in and you're going to melt in. Oops. Yeah, I caught that one on fire. It's okay. Basically, I'm melting into the hat, and it will create this little center that's here. So I'm going to do this a little slowly here so we don't catch this on fire here. Yeah, that was hot when I touched it. No, let's do this. Sometime, let's just... Let's clip off some of the excess. And then I can use like my tweezers to help control the burn a little bit more. And now we're going to need our hot glue gun and our 1/2 inch round. So grab your tweezers again, and we're going to put a small amount of glue. Oops, dropped it. And we're going to adhere that to this round. Alright, so that's that part done. Now we need to do one more section before we do a full assemble, and that's these little flirly these roll-ups. So we're going to need a total of 12 strips of blue tulle, and this is where my rotary cutter comes in hand. So you want 4 strips 3 inches wide. So that cuts, and you might need your scissors too. Just sometimes there's a little snippet at the end that doesn't quite. Alright, so alright. And see, they don't completely. I think I need a new blade in my cutter. So all I do is just then go through, and it's a tiny, tiny little piece that you might have to snip apart. Shoot. Alright. And then the next thing we do is we're going to take these little 3-inch pieces and we're going to roll. And then I use a clip to clip it. And again, you're just rolling it. I got 2 more to roll. I pre-rolled the rest of it before I started the video. Okay, so here are our lovely rolls. So you're going to need a needle and thread for the next step. So we're going to take one of these clips off. You're going to fold it in half and come in through the end here, and we're going to sew. And I'm going to go in a couple of times here because we're going to secure. Okay, so that one's secure. So we're going to take the next one, fold it in half, bump it up against this one, and we're going to sew the two together. You're just kind of, it's just just 2 stitches. So it doesn't have to, that's it. And as you can see, it stays together that way. So we're going to take the next one. And this is where it starts differing. Okay. So we're going to go through the second one and the third together. The second and the third. And then we're going to add the 4th piece, and it's going to go through the 3rd and the 4th. So again, fold your thing in half, bump it up against here, and you're going to go through the 4th and into the new one. Shoot, I got a knot in my thread. Oh, that's okay, it went through. All right. So I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to continue doing this all the way around, all the way until I get them all connected, and then I'll be back to show you how to connect the beginning and the end together. So as you can see, here's a good chunk of our little furl going together. So I'll be right back. Okay, all right, so here we go. We've got all of them together. So all we're going to do is just kind of go into the first one. Make sure you keep your string out of the way and just pull it. And I found that if I pushed it down a little bit, I can kind of see it a little bit better to go back in for the second pull. And then after that, you just kind of hide a stitch in there to tie it off. Here we go. Alright, so we just snip this off, and we've got our last item to assemble before the full assembly of this. So we're going to set that aside. Now we're going to go into assembling this layer. So you're going to take one of your rounds, fold it in half, give 2 snips, You're going to push this through, and you're going to want to glue this down. And we're going to come through over here. We're going to put our rubber band or our headband ponytail holder in, and then we're going to push through the felt through the other hole. So it's going to look like this, and then we need to secure the felt on this side too. Oops. Now if you have any excess felt there, you could just trim that off to match. And I'm going to take and secure this. And the glue is very hot right now, so I'm just trying to be a little careful enough to get my fingers in it. Glue gun's been on a while, so it's pretty damn hot. Alright, so I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. And we're going to start with our assembly. So, we're going to start with, we can take this part and we can push this in the center. Okay. So that's going to go in the center there. I'm just giving it a push down. Be gentle, because if you push too far, then you're pulling the glue through. Alright, let that dry up a little bit. And we'll take this, and we want to put the blue layer down first. So, I found the best way is you push it like so, because we want to make sure we only get the glue where we want it. Alright, and we need our ribbons. So, we want all of the wording to be facing the correct way. So, the two thes are going to go on your left side here. And what I simply did is I put a little bit of glue here on the end, and I tucked it in right here. And I also came in along the edge of the bow here. This way the bow sticks out, the ribbon sticks out. So we want to do the same thing with the other. And then this side, the is going to be tucked in underneath. One more. So now we're going to take the red tulle layer, and I found that if I kind of just, you need to hold and press firmly to get all the layers of tulle together, and sometimes it takes a little extra glue to get them all there. And make sure you got your cat in the hat in the right direction. We're going to need to come in with some more. Hold on. There's not enough glue. Whoa. Sometimes if you pick it up and squeeze just really, really hard, because you want all that glue to penetrate those layers of tulle to get everything really stuck together. Make sure you pull off all your glue webbing that happens. Okay. It's not fully, like I can still feel that it's warm. So that will dry up. So we're going to come to the back, and we want to make sure that as I pull this, it's not going to come apart. Lift this real quick. Reposition it slightly. There we go. Make sure you want it across right. All right. Now this needs to dry a little bit, but you just fix these up a little bit, move them wherever, and there you have it. Here is the Cat in the Hat. Cat in the Hat inspired bow. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and these will be for sale on my marketplace on Facebook. I do believe I already have buyers for these two, but you can always message me. I can make another one. So thank you for joining me, and hope you like, subscribe, and oh, measurements. Just to give you an idea, I mean, you're seeing it here on my board. One of these ribbons, so with the tails coming out, here's your 10-inch mark. So it's about 10 inches long, and width-wise, about 5 inches. So that's the size. So my bows are definitely huge. Again, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for joining me. Like, subscribe, share, and see you in the next video.